Hello. I wonder if I'm sideways. Okay. So, hi guys. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure my camera's right. I hope I'm not sideways. My name is Denise. I am a health freedom activist in the state of California. I live in San Joaquin County, and I am founder of The-TheInformedMama, which is a Facebook blog and a, obviously, YouTube channel. Hi, could you tell me if I'm sideways or not? I don't know if YouTube is going to let me do it this way, but let's move on. I am also co-founder of Freedom Angels, which is a organization of parents who, make sure that parental rights stay intact and try to protect our Constitution as much as we possibly can. I'm going to talk to you guys today about protecting yourself during birth. I have a lot of questions from people on what you can do to protect yourself. I have seen that many hospitals... Okay, there we go. Sorry, YouTube told me to change my phone, so I wanted to make sure that was right. So, hospitals are now telling patients that they cannot have their partner in the room with them. And we already are in an environment where the medical community, medical professionals have overreached. They have made us feel like we are incompetent to make decisions unless we have a PhD or unless we have MD at the end of our name. They want to make you feel like you do not know what the right decisions are for yourself and your baby. So what I'm going to talk to you guys about is how to protect yourself, what forms you should not sign. I am not here to give you medical advice. I cannot give you medical advice, and I cannot give you legal advice. But what I can do is tell you from experience what we have done to help protect families who are going to the hospital to give birth. Now, the most important thing is to create a birth plan. A birth plan is as long as you need it to be, but basically it is your consent and your wishes for how you want your birth to go. Many people have a problem creating their own birth plan, so if you do have Facebook, you can go to, I wrote it down, Holistic Action in the Vaccine Library. I know Facebook likes to filter out, so when you put it in the search bar, it's going to come up with a whole bunch of CDC information. Click on the little box that says groups. That's going to help you filter out, it'll help you filter out the information properly. So in that group, you're going to see on the top part of the group, it's going to say files. There she has Denise Young, who's the founder of this page, has tons of information, and she also has birth plan information. So birth plans can include things like no hepatitis B, no vitamin K, delayed cord clamping, no circumcision, and skin to skin immediately. This is something I had on my birth plan. It's important to give it to your doctor before you give birth. So you want to make sure that before you get too far into your pregnancy, because then you can't change doctors. It's really hard for another doctor to take over, but you can, it's just difficult. You want to make sure your physician, your doctor is on the same page with your wishes of how you want your birth to go. So you give it to your doctor, and then you give it to the hospital before you register and let them know, I'm going to be registering, I need this to be put in my medical records, these are my wishes. And then you print out about 10 copies. The 10 copies are for shift changes. Usually medication and all of the vaccines and things, those are done either immediately after birth, or if you delay, they're done on the night shift. So you want to make sure that you have enough of your birth plan to give to the shift change nurses and to the doctors, so there's no mistakes and people actually know what your wishes are. Now, even if you do vaccinate, say you do vaccinate, I would encourage you guys to look at the hepatitis B vaccine. Now, hepatitis B is, you can catch it through blood, through dirty needles, unprotected sex. Now, if your child isn't going to be participating in any of these activities, really hepatitis B is one of the most ridiculous vaccines we can give our child on the first day of life. You can also look at the eye ointment. Eye ointment is for mothers who have an STD, and when a child is birthed vaginally, they don't want that child to get any kind of infection in their eye. Now, this is an antibiotic. I'm sorry, I'm gonna look at this. I can't see the comment. That's an antibiotic. And it's really, really a bad idea. And this is science. This is backed medically, to give a child who does not have an immune system an antibiotic for an illness that they do not have. So I would encourage you guys to look at that. Also, delayed cord clamping is a really good wish to have. Delayed cord clamping is waiting to cut the cord until about 1 to 3 minutes. Sometimes it's 5, it just depends. That cord should be white, completely white, and stop pulsating before you cut it. The reason is that cord has all those amazing stem cell blood. Now, that blood is banked by the hospital and it's sold. So that is your property. You should be telling your doctor that you want your child to have all those stem cells. And if you decide to bank it on your own, a lot of people do this because if your child gets sick, has a cancer or anything like that, this is a really great treatment to give to your child to help them recover quickly. So that's another option. Also, circumcision. I am a regret mom. I now know how valuable a child's foreskin is in the United States and just around the world. They sell it for the beauty industry. So I would research circumcision. It really isn't a necessary medical procedure. This is something that you can teach your children as far as better hygiene, how to take care of themselves. These are things that parents should be doing to help their children, instead of going for a procedure that is proven to actually hurt these children, because babies know pain. It's really scary. You have Sandra Bullock, you have Oprah Winfrey, and you have people in the Hollywood industry who have really, really started talking about foreskin being used in creams to help with wrinkles and to help with all, make you look beautiful. So that is something that you would want to look at. Another thing to do is skin to skin. Babies absolutely need to have skin to skin as soon as they're birthed. And I know a lot of times, especially NICU babies or babies who are in distress, get whisked away. NICU babies is a really hard issue because once they're in the NICU, you kind of lose control over the things that you would want done. Now, hospitals still have to work on your consent. So a lot of times hospitals say, for preemie babies about brain bleeds using vitamin K shot. What you can do is an oral vitamin K. The oral vitamin Ks are available at your health food stores. They're about $40. They have to be new, so hospitals do not allow you to have an open bottle. So that's something that you would want to invest in if you decide that vitamin K is a necessity. You can also eat a diet rich in vitamin K like kale and breastfeed. These are things that I did. When I gave birth to my son, he is now 5, I knew that I was not going to vaccinate him immediately. And at that time, I wasn't fully on board with not vaccinating at all. I thought I would probably do it when he was 5 to let his immune system develop. And at that time, I had my son, and the physician on duty came over to me and wagged his finger at me and told me that I was going to kill my son, and I was acting irresponsibly. As an advocate, I wasn't as strong as I am now, and I wish I would have had somebody there with me as an advocate. My partner was there, which was great, because that was, no, leave her alone, you're not going to do this to her. But a lot of times partners aren't as comfortable with asking questions or saying no. We have been absolutely indoctrinated to feel like we cannot ask questions of our medical community The medical community and medical professionals feel a parent who asks too many questions is hostile. But at the end of the day, these are your children, and the medical decisions that you make for them will affect them for the rest of their life. The doctors will see you for a couple of days after birth and then send you on your way. So nobody is really held responsible if something does happen to your baby. So these are points that you can research on your own to see what's the best decision for your family. What we have done as Freedom Angels, we, again, a group of mothers, we're four, there's four of us, but we are mighty. What we've done is we've created a system to where if you are going to give birth or you need somebody there with you to get you out of the hospital or to just be your advocate, we can be silent advocates, we can be loud advocates, whatever you need. We have been going to hospitals. We travel if needed, but we're there to make sure that you have the information needed in order to protect your family, and we will stand with you through the entire thing. Recently we had a mother who was stuck in the hospital because her baby was premature and she was opting out of the vitamin K. However, she did have the drops. The hospital ended up calling social services on her, and we went there, and it's not just one. We had 5 advocates there who spent the night, who stayed there all day in the hospital, who made sure that family got out safely. But this is where we're at within our healthcare environment. We have doctors and nurses who contact social services if we opt out of a medical procedure that isn't absolutely necessary. Our children are held against us because they feel like we can't possibly make the right decisions for our families, and we can't possibly read. So read the information. You can get your information from a website called Vaccine.guide. It is created by a toxicologist who goes through all of the inserts and then leaves the peer-reviewed science so you can have the right information. Now, to protect yourself against coercion, when you go to the hospital and you register, you do not want to sign the electronic form. That electronic pad is actually a contract that is stating you give consent for the hospital to do whatever procedures they feel is medically necessary. Hospitals feel vaccines are medically necessary. So you can ask for the hard copy. You might get a lot of, sassiness from the registration, but it's a contract, and you should read it, and you should read what it says. Now, in order to opt out of vaccines, because they feel that vaccines are medically necessary, you want to put no biologics and no biogenics without parental consent. Biologics is how vaccines are categorized. They're not categorized as medication, they're not categorized as biologics. So you want to write that down. Recently, I was in a very bad accident, and I had to go to the hospital. I signed the hard copy paperwork and put no biologic, no biogenic, and I was given I was told was an antibiotic. I do not think it was an antibiotic because of the way the medication felt. It absolutely felt like it was fire going into my arm. I have some information that it could have been a Tdap vaccine that was given to me without my consent. So with that, I'm waiting for the information to come through, waiting for my billing to happen, because there can be a number of steps you can take. First would be a lawsuit. Second would be insurance, the false insurance claims. If I wrote, I don't want this medication, and then they gave me the medication and billed me for it, that's, they're not following the rules of what insurance companies are requesting. So there's a number of things you can do to make sure that you hold these people accountable, as if, we all know you can't hold the hospitals accountable for injury of a vaccine. So you want to make sure you don't sign that form. You want to make sure that you sign the no biologics, no biogenics. Right now, what's happening because of this quarantine and because of these lockdowns, you want to make sure that you have all the information that you need in order to basically survive getting out of the hospital. And I say that not for all of our medical professionals out there, because we have great doctors and nurses, but from experience, every hospital I have went to has been hostile. And we are no longer looking at a healthcare system. We're looking at a overreaching, controlling system that wants you to take every single pharmaceutical drug that's available to you. And if you ask questions, you're going to be, you're going to be notated as hostile and parent refuse medical treatment. What you're also going to get is a refusal to vaccinate form. Now, this form is a very, very tricky form, and it's actually very dangerous. If you read it, which I suggest you read it all, that form says that you know that you are putting yourself and the community at risk, that the doctor has talked to you about the risks associated with every vaccine and has given you informed consent. If that did not happen, do not sign it. You will be held liable if, say, you don't vaccinate and then that doctor's hospital has an outbreak of measles and you're the only patient that's not vaccinating, they can come back to you. So protect yourself legally. And if you don't want to take my information, contact an attorney or a paralegal to make sure that I'm giving you the right information. Always double check. You can write your own refusal to vaccinate form where you say, I am opting out of this medical procedure at this time, and especially if the doctor refuses to sit with you and talk to you about vaccines, which happens all the time. Every time I went to a physician, I've asked for the insert, and they give me the VIS, which is the vaccine information sheet, which doesn't have the right information. And they don't talk to me about VAERS, which is put on the insert itself, that every physician should be telling their patient about VAERS and how to file a claim should your child get hurt. So you can create your own. I'm refusing to, or I'm opting out of this medical procedure. I will not hold the clinic at fault if anything happens to my child. Sign and date. If you find yourself in a position where they are coercing you, you can actually print your name. If you just don't want to get into it and you need to get out, you can print your name. That shows that you are under duress, and that is not your signature. You didn't consent to that, and you can actually put under duress. A few years ago, I interviewed a doctor for to become my child's pediatrician, and she stood between me and the door and told me she was going to contact CPS if I didn't sign it. That is coercion. You can contact your state's medical board and file a complaint. So you want to write it down on paper, and you want to put the date of your visit, exactly what happened, the doctor's license number, and every single medical professional who bullied you in that office. You want to send a certified letter to your physician with signature required, letting them know that you're going to be filing a complaint. And then you send it to the medical board, whichever state you're in, and then file the complaint against them. We're not going to get anywhere if we continue to just sit back and allow these medical professionals to bully us. Doctors and nurses have taken their power way too far, and so it's up to us to continue to educate ourselves and other people to let them know what your rights are. CPS is always a very scary issue. CPS is a for-profit agency that's given $2,000 to $4,000 per child removed from the home. CPS is absolutely corrupt, and they do not have reunification in mind most of the time. We're seeing so many mistakes and so many issues that could have been avoided from CPS, such as the Gabriel Fernandez case. And we cannot allow the government and the contractors with the government to take over our children. That's exactly what's happening. Just like what's happening with these state orders. I have a video up of how San Joaquin County has put a state order, and it's completely not backed up by the sheriff's department. This is how these entities are working. They're not talking to each other, and they have way too much power. In California, we have AB 262, which gave the public health officer the power to quarantine and to do whatever they feel necessary in the face of an outbreak, which is 3 or more. So this is where we're now seeing families are under attack. We're seeing that if children are diagnosed with this virus, they are being separated from their parents. Child goes to this quarantine, parents can't visit. There's real danger when you have medical professionals and the government in between you and your child, and you have no ability to get to that baby. So stay safe, know your rights, make sure that you understand how, what you can do to protect yourself, and always have someone with you who's able to help you get through this. Now, if you do need help, again, I am in San Joaquin County. We have Freedom Angels in the Bay Area. We have Freedom Angels in Southern California and up by the border of Reno and California. We have people all over the nation as well. So if you need help, you can email freedomangels@protonmail.com, and you can let us know what you need, and we can see what we can come up with for you. If you are absolutely versed in the laws, please reach out and start helping your community, because this is the only way that we're going to get past all of this. We have a huge pandemic right now, which is based on false numbers. We had, what's his name? I write my stuff down in case I don't. Neil Ferguson, who's an epidemiologist. He projected that 2.2 million people in the United States would be affected or die from this coronavirus. He said that 500,000 in the UK would also be affected and die. Within a day of quarantine, he took that number and he reframed it to 20,000 people would be affected, which is far different from the 2.2 million. So now we have states overreaching. We have California governor, who's incredibly scary because he's not going to want to give that power back, who are separating families. I thought we didn't separate families in the United States. They're separating families. They are giving us false information. They are putting in false stay orders, which is completely trampling on our Constitution and our freedom of speech, our freedom of religion, because churches are now closed. We have the freedom to congregate, and now they want to give misdemeanors just in case you might be out. I mean, we're in scary times right now, so the only time that it's going to stop is if we start standing up and asking questions and saying no. So I hope this helps a little bit. I know I get a lot of stuff about birth, so if I did not cover something, please leave a question and I'll do my best to get back to you. Again, I have a Facebook page, Denise Marie. The Informed Mama is a blog on Facebook, as well as Freedom Angels has a page on Facebook. I am also on Instagram under The Informed Mama 209 and Freedom Angels Foundation. Freedom_Angels_Foundation. You can email us at freedomangels@protonmail.com. My website is theinformedmama.org, where I have merchandise there. I also have a donate button, as well as an email button if you need help with whichever problem it comes to birth or vaccines or parental rights, because right now we have a very, very big problem on our hands. The next fight is homeschooling. We've come under attack. Harvard is trying to regulate homeschooling, and we need to figure out how to get together and stop these atrocious laws. Tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're going to be on Freedom Angels page on Facebook, discussing how Freedom Angels was birthed and how important it is to stand up to corrupt politicians and corrupt government. So I hope to see you on that page. Leave any questions that you have, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thank you, stay safe, and love one another.